When we think about AI, when we think about the role automation can play within our customer experience function, we have a few big debates. One of those is where to focus our investments. What are the tasks that make the most sense to address with intelligent automation? Which functions of our business can harness the power of AI? But there's also another question, one that is so important as we start to really go from all the potential wonder, amazing things AI can do, and start to look at the practical. What is it going to do, and how is it going to drive results? And that question concerns how exactly should an AI platform communicate? More specifically, to what extent should it possess conversational capabilities? It's an interesting question, right? Because it's not one that you can just provide a simple yes or no answer. It really does require considerable thought. We have to look at, first and foremost, what kind of conversation are your customers and stakeholders going to be demanding? Depending on your use case, you're going to have different needs and expectations there. And as you start to evaluate the potential of conversational AI, you really want to be mindful of those needs. You also want to start to look at the departments and stakeholders who will be benefiting. Because remember, depending on where you're positioning your automation within your customer experience journey, there's going to be different needs and different expectations, and you want to make sure you're mindful of that. And just as importantly, you want to focus on the how. How are you actually going to develop the conversational AI tools? How is it going to optimize based on real-life use cases and real-life needs? Understanding all of that is so important to embarking on a successful AI journey, to successfully leveraging contact center technology to wow your stakeholders, excite and satisfy your customers, and create a better business. And that's going to be the topic of today's discussion. We're surely going to look at the realities of where conversational AI fits into the broader landscape right now. But we also want to arm you with strength on the how component. How exactly can you position your tool to make the biggest impact? And getting us there will be Derek of Cognigy. He's going to share his phenomenal amount of insights, his experience working in this space, and really put you on the right track to make the biggest possible impact in your contact center. Derek, the floor is yours. Walk us through chatbots and conversational AI.
Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation on chatbots, conversational AI, and conversational automation. And I want to pause here because the reason this title slide shows people sitting around in a circle rather than an army of robots is because I wanted to reflect what we're actually doing here today and what you may be doing in the days and weeks following this presentation. Find opportunities to sit with your peers and your teams to talk about the role of AI and automation in improving your contact center. In your meetings, over lunch, and those kitchen conversations, learn what people are doing and what people want to do with chatbots and virtual assistants. Talk about how it can make life better for agents. And look at those reports you share with your management and see how conversational AI and automation can make a real difference for you and the impact you have at your organization. My hope is that this presentation can give you some conversation starters and spark your imagination. I'm Derek Roberti, VP of Technology for Cognigy in North America, and I'll be presenting today on this topic of conversational AI and conversational automation. And I want to encourage you to feel free to contact me at any time after the presentation if you have questions or just need some advice. Our agenda today is going to cover three topics. First off, conversational automation. What is it, and why is it so important today? Then we'll jump into some customer case studies. We'll look at how companies are using conversational automation and the results it's bringing them. And finally, we'll talk about getting started. We'll talk about how to identify use cases for pilot projects and those phase 1 deployments. But to get started, I want to talk about the importance of messaging as a form of human interaction. And to do so, here's a real-world exchange that was copied from my phone to this presentation. And it started off with me saying, hey, how was your day today? It was busy at work, lots going on. Stressful? Yes. Thinking of you kept me sane. I love you. We message each other. Billions of lines of text pass from person to person every day. Sometimes our messages are practical, sometimes they're humorous, and sometimes they're touching and intimate. Our ability to send these short messages to friends, coworkers, families, and intimates has opened up a new avenue for connection that's simple and spontaneous. It's immediate and interactive. You say, or I say, I'm thinking of you. You say, same. And 1,000 miles away, we smile together. But maybe these messages are more common, like, I'm running late. Can I call you in half an hour? Can you pick up some butter? Or what's for dinner? Or when is soccer practice? And businesses have also seen the practical benefits of messaging, like I might get a billing confirmation from AT&T or a reservation confirmation from Resi or OpenTable, or I get those two-factor authentication codes from my bank or a prescription notification from my pharmacy. And as consumers, we like these notifications. They're really helpful. But business has trained consumers to assume that the following kinds of interactions aren't possible. So for example, for my AT&T billing confirmation, what if I want to ask a question back? Why is my bill higher this month? Or for my dinner reservation, what if I want to say, can I change the reservation to Thursday? Or maybe for my two-factor authentication code, I can say, hey, I use the code, but I still can't log in. Or for my pharmacy notice, what if I want to say, how many refills do I have left? In our personal contexts, we assume a dialogue is possible, but we treat our business interactions as though we're having a one-way conversation with a web page. These messages from businesses present information, but they can't engage with you as a person and talk to you, understand you, and solve a problem. But isn't that what messaging platforms are for? Well, the challenge of messaging for business is scale. How do we keep up with the volume of messages that our customers might send over the many different messaging channels that they use? The only way we can carry on a dialogue with our customers at scale is through conversational automation. Instead of having people handling every interaction, we have people design interactions. We teach artificial intelligence systems how to understand and fulfill on customers' needs using our lived experience of how they interact with our customer service teams. And we enable the system to start learning on its own based on feedback we get from our customers. Finally, we tune in to our customers' moods and interaction style, and we mirror that. So their conversation with a machine feels relevant, efficient, and even connected. What I just described may not sound like any chatbot or virtual assistant you've ever interacted with. Chatbots are somewhat unique in that everyone has had some kind of experience with an automated agent, and sometimes these experiences aren't perfect. For many of us, the primary experience we have with automated conversations is through Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant. These interactions are magical, though somewhat stilted if they work, and frustrating if they don't. It feels great when you can ask Siri what the weather's like this week, and she answers accurately. But it's frustrating when you tell Siri something and she just can't get it right. As an example, a close friend of mine is Vietnamese, and he goes by Toi. And for years, the only way Siri would place my call to him is if I said, hey Siri, call Tuesday. Wasn't a great experience. On the web, the experience with chatbots has fallen short in other ways. And instead of being of service, chatbots can provide limited real value. I read an article on CMS Wire that summarized this experience nicely. Tom Petrocelli said in summary that chatbots need more structured inputs than people do. They sometimes appear to be using trial and error rather than showing true understanding. They're a transparent effort for companies to reduce costs, and they're less efficient than using a mobile app. And his most pointed comment from my point of view was that chatbots yield the same results any search engine would, but with more effort. Ouch. Now, one can argue that these experiences on your phone or on the web aren't really examples of conversational automation. They're simple commands and confirmations that use natural language processing, but can't really carry on a dialogue. There are either voice command interfaces in the case of your phone, or there are either web forms or search engines put into a different interface in the case of the web. But whatever you call it, the user experience isn't always great. and it causes us to approach interactions with chatbots with some skepticism. So what's going on in our heads as business leaders is, how can I create an experience for my customers that they'll prefer over human-to-human interactions? How can my organization realize cost savings from automation, but really make it a win-win for customers and employees who are using conversational interfaces? We want experiences that are intelligent and connected, that draw our users in and turn them on with results rather than just frustrating and alienating them. So let's do that. Let's talk about creating experiences that support our users' desires to interact through conversational interfaces, both messaging and voice, provide 24/7 coverage, help users accomplish goals to make interactions feel intelligent. And at the same time, these experiences should reduce customer effort. They should scale support while reducing operational costs, provide consistency of experience across channels, and amplify the value of investments in automation that we've already made. And that is the domain of conversational automation and intelligent chatbots. So what differentiates conversational automation from simple chatbots are 5 key characteristics. First, they use natural language understanding to determine what a user wants to do and important details they're sharing. So if the user says, I was in a fender bender in my truck yesterday, and I have a big dent in my bumper, the virtual assistant should not ask, do you want to file a claim? When was the accident? Which vehicle was damaged, or what kind of damage was there? We've already shared some key information, and an intelligent chatbot should recognize that. 2, conversational automation understands a user's context before the conversation starts. Intelligent chatbots should know whom they're talking to. They should be able to carry on a dialogue with an awareness of who the user is, why they're starting a conversation, and what they want to get done. 3, the scope of the chatbot should fundamentally be solving problems for users, not just acting as a search engine. While providing information to users is valuable, and you may have search technology as a component of your bot's intelligence, users should be able to accomplish more than they could by simply searching on Google. 4, conversational automation is centered on connecting users with the systems and data they need to access. From an end user's point of view, an intelligent chatbot can provide information and solutions. That means accessing information about a user's relationship and transactions with your organization and being able to take action. Finally, conversational automation takes advantage of existing and ongoing investments in automation technologies. You may have invested in RPA or business process automation technologies to improve the efficiency of your customer support operations. Conversational automation takes advantage of the work you've already done to embed your business processes into the systems that make them faster and less error-prone. So, in summary, conversational automation is intelligent, contextual, problem-solving, connected to systems, and it makes automation accessible. And all of this is in the interest of reducing customer effort by making your operations more efficient. The conversational part of conversational automation refers to the way in which a user engages with automation. We've talked a lot about messaging and its importance, but conversational automation can also take place by voice, allowing users to speak in their own words by phone or through smart speakers to the automation systems. Now, if we look at how conversational automation works, and for Cognigy in particular, I think this diagram shows it very nicely. We start on the left side where we have the channel that the user is talking to, the virtual agent. That can be a chat or a voice channel that sends text to the AI. If it's a voice channel, there's usually a transcription step before that. So using speech-to-text technology, we're still getting text at the end. Then the AI engine kicks in and uses natural language understanding to figure out the intent and the important terms, which are called slots, that were delivered in that text that the user sent. So if someone, for example, says, I want to order a pizza with ham, the intent could be order food. The food is pizza, and the toppings are ham. If someone says, I want to order a pizza with ham, but not cheese for tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., Then we still have an order food intent. The food is still pizza. The toppings are ham and cheese, but the cheese has a negative marker on it. And we have a date slot, which is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. The results from the AI engine are then passed into the conversational logic, which is our automation layer. It's the layer that interfaces with existing backend systems like SAP, Salesforce, or ServiceNow, for example. The conversation logic can then use data from those systems and formulate a response back to the user. So if someone comes in and says, hey, I want to see your specials, we can identify the intent specials request, and then we can retrieve the special from, for example, an e-commerce system and pass those back into the channel that the user came from. And what we pass back, the response, it can be text, or it can be specially formatted text for voice called SSML, or it can be media such as images, videos, structured data, or it can even be commands. If your channel, for example, is talking through a car, we could say, hey, show me the way to the nearest Italian restaurant, and then a command is passed back to the car to adjust the nav system. So let me give you two examples of what this looks like in real life, one B2C and one B2B. Let's look at an example of how an insurance company used a messaging interface to transform how its customers access and complete a key business process. Orog is an insurance company who provides insurance against traffic violations, speeding tickets, and other legal issues. They combined back-end automation technologies with a conversational interface to create a text-based assistance to process insurance claims. Before implementing their conversational claim solution, their customers would do one of three things when submitting a claim. They'd either call it in, or they'd email it in, or they'd even mail it in. And this required the user to print or scan the documentation that they needed for the claim. They'd have to mail it in, either using email or postal mail. And then Orog needed to process the message to get it into their claims management system. And this involved a lot of manual work on the part of the customer, as well as the workers handling the claim documentation itself. So to make the process easier and less error-prone for everyone, Orog built a conversational claim experience. And their solution includes conversational AI that guides the user through the conversation and asks case questions to determine their claim eligibility. The user is then asked to upload case-relevant documents either through their phone directly or through a drag-and-drop interface, and those documents are processed by optical character recognition. And then automated bots transmit filed claims to all their legacy backend systems. And in the process, they've created a really unique industry-leading claims experience. The impact of this project has really been huge in their organization. Orog has achieved greater efficiency by implementing a fully digitized and automated claims reporting process. They've removed all manual collection of documentation. And as a result, they've lowered their transaction costs. In the process, they've enhanced the customer service by making it faster, easier, and friendlier. Peter Paschke, who's their head of document management, has said that diversification of input channels is the new challenge for our input management. Bridging the gap between Cognigy conversational AI and intelligent automation provides our customers accessibility to our services and a best-in-class user experience. So I want to show you a demo that's inspired by what Orog did with their virtual assistant. So I'm going to kick that off now. In this video, we'll see how conversational automation can be used to bring a significant improvement to the user experience while making use of automation technologies that have previously only been accessible to back office employees. So here, Laura is opening a new account at Cognigy Bank on her iPad. And she's going to start off the process by scanning her ID right in the context of the conversational interface. The system captures her ID, verifies its validity, and pulls out key pieces of data that will be used to complete her application. Now the dialogue is going to continue. We're going to collect Laura's contact details and ask her for confirmation. And then we'll need just a few more pieces of information to run a credit report. And Laura can provide her details as she's doing this, either by typing or pressing buttons on the screen, whatever is easier. Okay, now she's going to choose her credit card design. And then we're going to verify her email address. We're going to send her an authorization code. And when she provides the code, the system is actually going to generate a document in real time for Laura to review, and then also to sign to complete the e-signature right in the conversational interface. And that's how you do it. That's how you open a new account with a conversational automation. Now, our next case study is going to be of a global manufacturer. They have more than 400,000 employees worldwide, and their story is going to move us from the domain of text to voice. As background, previously the company handled 95% of their orders for certain components for heating systems by phone. So when a service center needed to order replacement parts, they would pick up the phone, call the contact center, let them know the parts they needed, get pricing based on their distributor discount, check availability and timing, and request an invoice. And that's the way it had always been done for a couple of reasons. First off, the service centers themselves weren't running on cutting-edge technology. Many of the systems for managing parts use pre-internet technologies running local databases with terminal-based interfaces on green screens rather than modern web-based applications. So establishing an e-commerce portal for distributors didn't really match the operational systems that the service centers used. Second, the need to order parts didn't come up when people were behind their desks. They needed to request parts from the shop floor, a customer site, or a service vehicle rather than from an office. So the phone really was the easiest way to place an order. But it was costly. Not every order was even large enough to cover the cost of time spent with a human agent. Now, the business had made investments in efficiency. They used SAP to manage parts and inventory and had built automations to make it relatively fast for customer support agents to place orders on behalf of their callers. So there was investment in managing costs on the business side, making it faster for callers to place their orders. But they still had human agents handling the work of order taking, which is really a data entry activity rather than something that requires human judgment. What they needed, their task in working with Cognigy, was to take all of the automation work they had done and connect it to the user's preferred communication channel. Effectively, they needed a team of automated agents who could handle all of the standard requests for orders, discounts, invoicing, and shipping. They needed 3 ingredients to make everything work. They needed technology that supported the voice channel, which for them was Avaya. They needed a conversation management system, which was Cognigy. And then they needed the connecting pieces between the conversation systems and the backend systems involved in order processing, which for them was SAP and Automation Anywhere. They needed to be able to communicate, understand, and process. And all of this had to work within their existing and significant investments in their contact center infrastructure. To build the solution, they worked with in-house teams who had experience with the dependent technologies, as well as the subject matter experts who really know how the order management process worked. The crucial components of the project's success were, 1, strategically identifying this as an opportunity to reduce cost while also bringing a new 24/7 availability to a service channel. Second, they needed to make use of internal skill sets, especially technical skill sets, to connect the systems that would deliver value to the end user. In this case, it was via Automation Anywhere and SAP. Third, they needed to empower business users to build out the actual conversations. And this meant selecting a conversational application that could meet the enterprise requirements for security, integration, and in this case, an on-premise deployment, while also being easy enough for non-technical users to build and manage. And finally, they needed the forward-looking understanding that the solution needed to be built initially for voice, but had to be able to expand to other channels like text messaging to meet users in their preferred channel. The outcomes they've realized so far are impressive by any measure. At this stage of the rollout, 30% of the calls are being handled by the bot, which creates an immediate ROI on the project costs. And significantly, almost 20% of the calls handled by the bot happen outside of normal business hours, which is something that just wasn't possible before. This success is sending ripple effects throughout the organization as the value of conversational automation and their success in implementing it becomes clear and widely known. And it made people happier. People could still place their parts orders, but they didn't have to rush to call in by 5 o'clock to get them in. In and of itself, these numbers are impressive, but consider them against the backdrop of a recent study from Contact Center Week of the state of contact center technology. According to the study, only 5% of organizations believe they're successfully using AI for customer interactions, which means the overwhelming majority are not making the most out of solutions like chatbots, smart IVRs, and intelligent routing platforms. They're squandering an incredible opportunity to create more convenient experiences, reduce customer and agent effort, and boost the value of interactions. This Cognigy customer saw the opportunity that conversational automation offers, and they're clearly ahead of the pack when it comes to realizing significant value from chatbots and virtual assistants. These are impressive and inspiring case studies. And while they were all made possible using technology, they were fundamentally driven by individuals and teams sitting at their desks or meeting rooms thinking, how can we serve our customers better? How can we make it easier to do business with us? How can we deliver our services more efficiently? And fundamental to answering these questions was a key insight. How can we meet our customers where they're at, in their channel of choice, and in their modality of choice? I hope you can spend some time over the coming days thinking about these questions. And as you do, start thinking about candidates for a pilot project where you can bring conversational automation to an internal or external customer experience. Think about what hurts, what pains are your customers and employees experiencing, and how can you make them better? Chatbot projects often start off as purely informational. So how can we take our top 100 support questions and provide answers through a messaging interface? That's an okay place to start, but make sure the tools that you use to realize these simple use cases are ones that will scale functionally and systematically to meet the full potential of enterprise conversational automation. When you think about the evolution of your conversational automation in the organization, consider the channels you want to support. Whether you're communicating with authenticated or unauthenticated users, and what systems are required to deliver value to your end users. I work with Cognigy, which is the technology behind the use cases I've shared today. Cognigy AI is the platform of choice for major brands, including airlines such as Lufthansa, parts manufacturers such as Bosch, and major insurance carriers and banks. If you have questions about conversational automation and its role in the contact center and customer experience, please contact me by email or just connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And thank you. Brian, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Derek, for an absolutely phenomenal, eye-opening presentation. You know, one of the things people who've ever attended a CCW Digital webinar or online event know is how much I am sick of, and I know some of the audience members are as well, of talking about AI in broad strokes, what it may be able to do someday, just kind of hitting on these cliched buzzword iterations of what should be a very powerful technology. And here, by not only providing a well-reasoned case for why conversational AI can make an impact, but really walking us through some clear, demonstrative examples of how it can work in a variety of organizations, that's exactly what our event's all about. That's exactly what our audience is clamoring for, and I appreciate what you shared here so much. Obviously, we are at the end of the half hour, so the questions we received we won't be able to get to now, but you saw Derek, he shared his email, his team's email on multiple occasions. He's passionate about this topic. He's very eager to answer those questions, so stay tuned for a follow-up for him, and otherwise stay tuned to CCW Online as it continues.